Today's lesson is Millie Bobby Brown, a talent to watch. Hi, everybody. I'm Roger.
And I'm Mike.
Today, we're going to continue talking about our featured celebrity for the month of April, and that is an actress by the name of Millie Bobby Brown. We talked a little bit about her history. She sort of got involved in acting by chance, right?
Absolutely, that's right. She was just bored while living in Orlando, Florida, took an acting class just to have something to do, but found she was quite good at it, and the acting coach actually recommended to her parents that they move to Hollywood, California to turn her into a star. So they did, and wow, it took a long time. She was in Hollywood for 3 months before she landed her first big acting role, which is no time at all, really. And then, of course, that led to Stranger Things, the Netflix show that turned her into a worldwide phenomenon and certainly a very well-known actress of her generation. So let's find out what she's doing now and what the future holds for her, both professionally and personally, as we get to the second part of today's article.
Brown's success has unsurprisingly made her popular with casting agents. Since starring in Stranger Things, she has worked on numerous TV and movie projects. Recent works include the sci-fi fantasy The Electric State, in which Brown stars opposite Chris Pratt, and the Enola Holmes movie franchise. This latter venture, an addition to the world of Sherlock Holmes, has allowed Brown to show off her British accent after years spent playing American characters.
大家好，第一部分介绍名词 agent， 指演员、艺术家或是作家等的经纪人，也可以是代理人或是代理商的意思。例如 The actress's agent has found many jobs for her. 这位女演员的经纪人帮她接了很多工作。或者 A travel agent helps us plan our trip. 一位旅行代办员帮我们规划行程。再来看到名词 fantasy， 表示奇幻电影或是奇幻文学，也可以是幻想的意思。例如 My friend Rex is a big fan of fantasy novels. 我的朋友 Rex 是奇幻小说的忠实爱好者。或是 Nora has a fantasy of living in a big house by the sea. Nora 幻想住在海边的大房子。接下来看到名词 venture， 它的意思是有风险的计划或事业，或是商业冒险，也可以是投机活动。例如When you start a new venture, you must be prepared to accept a certain amount of risk. 当你开始一项新的事业时，你必须准备好接受一定程度的风险。也可以说 Herbert's newest business venture is a Japanese-Swedish fusion restaurant. Herbert 最新的商业投资是一间融合日本和瑞典风格的餐厅。另外，这个字也可以当作动词使用。举个例子Few European explorers ventured into the African continent before the 18th century. 18世纪之前，很少有欧洲探险家敢冒险进入非洲大陆。再看个例子 Danielle rarely ventures into her basement because the dark, damp space frightens her. Danielle 很少冒险进入地下室，因为那里阴暗又潮湿，让她很害怕。继续介绍名词 accent， 表示口音或是腔调。可以说After living in London for a few years, Kathy started speaking with an English accent. Kathy 在伦敦住了几年后，说话就开始带有英国腔。又或者说 I know by her strange accent that she wasn't from around here. 我从她奇怪的口音中得知她不是这里的人。
Okay, so let's continue talking about Millie Bobby Brown's fascinating career. Brown's success has surprisingly made her popular with casting agents. Okay, of course, if you work in show business, you probably need to have an agent, somebody who represents you. They find jobs for you, like you're in a band, Mike. So do you have an agent that finds you gigs?
No, I do not have an agent.
You're not that big yet.
No, certainly not, no.
But of course, some people, of course, are quite famous and they can't handle these things themselves, so they hire an agent to do this. If you need to go overseas and you need to buy a plane ticket, you might go to a travel agent. And in this particular case, we're talking about casting agents. Casting, of course, is when they try to find roles for you in shows or films or whatever. And yes, she's quite popular with those casting agents, maybe because she's such a nice person.
There you go. And it would also probably mean that any scripts that came along with a character who seemed kind of like Millie Bobby Brown in age and other things, she'll get sent the scripts, and so she'll get a chance to say yes or no about whether she wants to try out for the film or try out for the television show. Basically, we're saying it's not hard for her to find work. Since starring in Stranger Things, she has worked on numerous TV and movie projects. So there you go. She's not one of those flash in the pan or one-hit wonder people that 10 years from now will go, oh yeah, what happened to her? No, she seems to be quite popular, and a lot of different directors, producers, movie makers, they want to work with her. Recent works include the sci-fi fantasy The Electric State, in which Brown stars opposite Chris Pratt, and the Enola Holmes movie franchise as well. So there you go. Two other big things that she's already found herself in while she is still doing Stranger Things. Where do they find the time? The first one we mention here is a sci-fi fantasy. Sci-fi, of course, short for science fiction, and fantasy, well, basically it's a fictional work, a creative work that relies heavily on the imagination. So when we talk about a fantasy, it won't be set in the world we know now. It won't even be set in the history in the past. In history, it will probably set in the future, like science fiction, or maybe in a completely different type of land, country, world. Think of Lord of the Rings or Game of Thrones or something like that. There might be magic and dragons, there might be spaceships and lasers, but it's certainly not the world we live in now. This is called Electric State, and she stars opposite, or she stars with Chris Pratt, of course, famous from some of the Marvel movies, Guardians of the Galaxy movies. I think those are the ones that he was the lead actor in. And then she also did the Enola Holmes movie franchise. So this is another totally different thing. This is a bit more of a historical fiction, I would think, because it's based on Sherlock Holmes. And this is a movie franchise, giving us the idea, since it's a franchise, that they have made more than one. A franchise can be a business that kind of operates as a brand. You can buy a franchise of 7-Eleven or McDonald's, and you can run it on your own, but it will be branded, it will be labeled, and you will sell products from 7-Eleven or McDonald's, and it's sort of a reproducible business idea. When we use this term for movies, we're thinking of those movies with multiple parts. The Star Wars franchise, the Avengers franchise, the Star Trek franchise, the Harry Potter franchise, books, movies, television shows, computer games, all of it under this one brand, under this one sort of identifying character or whatever that might be, the Avengers, Spider-Man, Harry Potter.
And this latter venture, in addition to the world of Sherlock Holmes, has allowed Brown to show off her British accent after years spent playing American characters.
That's true. I never thought of that.
So here we've got a venture. That just means something you're trying to do. A business venture, for example, it's some kind of business you're trying to do. This would be a film venture where she's trying to star in this series of movies, the Enola Holmes franchise. And she was able to show off her British accent because she had to use the American accent to play roles in America. Of course, that happens to a lot of actors and actresses when they try to make it big in the U.S. I think Hugh Laurie did a good job with the American accent, and Dr. House indeed. And I think Emily Blunt does a pretty good American accent as well. And I think the opposite occurs as well. When Americans or Canadians go to England, they do the English accent. You lived there for a while, so you can do the British accent. Right?
Occasionally I can do it, yes.
Okay, so you can certainly do it better than I can. But yes, indeed, she could use her own British accent starring in these shows, and I suppose it was a lot easier for her to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's very, very cool. So that's fun for her. She can go back to her British roots by using that accent, and I think it's very easy for the British actors, it seems, to do American accents. For Americans to do British seems to be much harder, although in Bridget Jones' Diary, I think she did quite a good job.
Renee Zellweger.
Yeah, there you go.
Seemed pretty convincing to me, even though I don't really know how to do the British accent.
That's right. Hers was pretty good. All right, let's take a break here. We're going to listen to the second part of the article and find out some of the things that Millie Bobby Brown has been doing away from the world of Hollywood and film and television production. It's very interesting stuff. Let's find out about it.
Brown has also proven that her talents go beyond acting. In 2018, she became the youngest person ever to be featured in Time magazine's 100 Most Influential People list and UNICEF's youngest ever Goodwill ambassador. The following year, she launched her own beauty line, Florence by Mills. She also has production credits for the Enola Holmes films and Damsel. In her personal life, Brown recently married Jake Bon Jovi, son of the singer John Bon Jovi, and has been studying health and human services at Purdue University Global.
第二部分看到形容词 influential 表示有影响力的，例如 The gallery shows works by several influential contemporary artists. 该艺廊展出数名具影响力的当代艺术家的作品。也可以说 Shakespeare was enormously influential in English literature, language, and culture. 莎士比亚对英国文学、语言及文化影响至深。
Okay, so if you're an actor or an actress or a musician or whatever, you might get bored with that particular vocation and you might want to try some other ventures. Well, Brown has also proven that her talents go beyond acting. She can do more than just acting. In 2018, she became the youngest person ever to be featured in Time magazine's 100 Most Influential People list and UNICEF's youngest ever Goodwill ambassador. So I guess she's used her fame to bring attention to certain causes. She's a very influential person, according to Time magazine. If you're influential, people know about you, and you make an impact on the world. You try to make the world a better place.
That's fantastic. Good for her. The following year, so this would be 2019, she launched her own beauty line, Florence by Mills. Okay, so there you go. So she's launched or released her own beauty line. And when we talk about a line, this is basically a type of product and probably a combination of different products in a similar sort of area. A beauty line would be lipsticks and mascaras and foundations and blushes and all of the other things that women and other people use to make themselves look lovely. And she launched this beauty line. To launch is basically to start or to begin. When we talk about a boat is when you kind of push the boat into the water. When you launch a boat, it can have a big ceremony, or it can just mean, let's get the boat into the water. Let's launch that boat, push it off away from the shore. So now it's floating in the water, ready to go. So she launched her own line of beauty products or makeup. Florence by Mills is the name, if you're looking for that in the stores. And she's also moved into filmmaking. She also has production credits for the Enola Holmes films and Damsel. When you have a production credit, you're not only in the list of actors, because of course she acted in these, but she also produced them. That's a production credit. You produce it, so maybe some of your own personal money has gone into the film, or maybe your own personal decision-making has gone into the film. Maybe you helped to pick the director, or pick the other actors, or make some of the executive decisions. So a production role in a film is a behind-the-camera role, not in front of the camera, not acting or performing, but a behind-the-camera role, and maybe not quite so hands-on as the director might be. Maybe the production people might be a little bit more like the supervisor, the business people, or as they might say in Hollywood, the money. I'm the money, basically.
Right, so she has experience being a producer. Remember, a producer is somebody who kind of puts the film together. The person on the scene who yells cut and action, that's the director. Don't confuse the two. They are different. And yes, indeed, she has some production credits for this series of films called Enola Holmes, and also for Damsel, which is another production. And in her personal life, Brown recently married Jake Bon Jovi, son of the singer John Bon Jovi, and has been studying health and human services at Purdue University Global. Okay, so these are some other things she has done. Sorry, boys, she's taken. She probably wouldn't be interested in you anyway. She married Jake Bon Jovi. Okay, that's kind of a different spelling from John Bon Jovi's spelling, although I think John Bon Jovi's born name, or the name he was born with, is this particular name. Bon Jovi is just his show name. He's a famous rock and roller, and his son's name is Jake, and And Millie got married. They are now husband and wife. And also, she's attending university at Purdue University Global. So I don't think she actually goes to the Purdue campus to study. Maybe it's an online course or something like that.
Yeah, sounds like it. And she's studying health and human services. So it sounds like she's very interested in doing things that are good for others. So that's a wonderful thing for her to do, maybe on the side with her movie career, or perhaps after she retires from making films, she's going to dedicate herself to charity work or something like that. Very, very cool. All right, let's have a look at the final part of our article, and then we'll be back to chat about it.
With such versatile talents, Millie Bobby Brown's star is surely set to keep rising. As fans await the final season of Stranger Things and the upcoming Enola Holmes 3, they can look forward to watching her continued growth as an actor and producer.
第三部分介绍动词 await， 指的是等待或是等候。举例来说 Alyssa awaited the results of her medical tests, hoping for good news. Alyssa 在等自己的医学检测结果，希望有好消息。又或者说 Many dangers awaited us on our journey through the jungle. 在我们穿越丛林的旅途中，有许多危险在等着我们。
Okay, here's the final part of our lesson for today. It says, with such versatile talents, Millie Bobby Brown's star is surely set to keep rising. So she's got these versatile talents. You could also pronounce this word as versatile. It can be pronounced both ways. It just means you are flexible. You have different things that you can do. You're very talented in different areas. And yes, she's talented in acting and producing and in creating product lines and things like that. So yes, she has these versatile talents. And because of them, her star will keep on rising. She will become more and more famous in the future.
As fans await the final season of Stranger Things and the upcoming Enola Holmes 3, they can look forward to watching her continued growth as an actor and producer, and whatever else she decides to be in the future as well. So yes, if you're a fan of Millie Bobby Brown, or certainly a fan of Stranger Things, the show, you are probably awaiting the final season. To await something is to wait for something. I am awaiting my friend at the bus stop. He should be here in 5 minutes or something like that. I am waiting for. So it's not arrived. It hasn't happened yet. We have to be patient. Let some time pass. Await the thing or await the start time. And there's an upcoming Enola Holmes movie, Part 3. If something is upcoming, it's probably no surprise to you that it is coming up. It is going to be happening very soon. But here we're using it as an adjective. So the upcoming concert has gotten the fans really, really excited about their favorite singer coming to town or something like that. A husband and a wife's upcoming wedding, or a bride and a groom's upcoming wedding, is a time of great nervousness, excitement, anticipation, and stress. So something is coming up. It is going to be happening soon. Enola Holmes 3 is happening soon. If you're a fan of that, you can get ready to head back to the movie theater to watch it. And whoever you are, if you're a fan of Millie Bobby Brown, you can look forward to watching her continued growth as an actor and producer. And as we said, many other things probably in the future. Mother, I'm sure she might be planning a family, and she's going to have this degree in health and human services. What's she going to do with that? I'm sure there will be other interesting stuff coming from a very interesting young lady, Millie Bobby Brown. All right, let's go over to our Chinese teacher, Hanny, and then we'll be right back after that with our discussion starter question.
各位同学大家好，我是 Hanny。 我们来看今天的文法重点。课文第3部分提到 With such versatile talents, Millie Bobby Brown's star is surely set to keep rising. 凭借着如此多才多艺的才华 Millie Bobby Brown 的星途势必会持续上涨。那这边用到句型 with 加名词逗号主词加动词，这可以表达有了什么什么，由于什么什么，或是像我们文中这种凭借着什么什么的语义。其中的 with 加名词是用来说明某个条件或是原因。举例来说，With practice, you'll get the hang of it soon. 透过练习，你很快就会上手了，很快就会掌握诀窍了。我们另外要介绍的是 set 当形容词的相关用法。第一个可以用到be set to 加原形动词，这可以表达预定要怎么样，准备好要怎么样，或是很可能会怎么样。例如 The parade is set to begin at 2 p.m. 那场游行预定在下午2点开始。第二个呢，我们可以用 be set on 加上名词或动名词来表达决心要怎么样怎么样。那么 set 在这边是表达坚决的，下定决心的。例如 He has been set on becoming an actor since he was a child. 他从小就下定决心要成为一名演员。好，那第三种用法我们可以用 be all set 来表达准备好了，一切准备就绪。all 在这边是强调用法，表达充分地或完全地。那 be all set 之后可以接 for 加名词，或是接 to 加原形动词。举例来说 I'm all set for the job interview. 我已经做好工作面试的准备了。好，那么课文句子它还有用到 versatile 或是念作 versatile 来描述多才多艺的。我们来补充它的字根，看到 vers 和 vert 这一类字根，它有转动、翻转或是变动的意思。那么带有这些字根的字大多含有改变原状的语义。在 versatile 这个字当中，字根 vers 它表示转，at 是来自动词字尾 ate 表示使或使成为，然后呢 ile 这部分则是形容词字尾，表示具有某种能力。我们从字根字尾的表面意思来看， versatile 就是指具有转动变动的能力，也就是具有多变的能力嘛。那从这个语义又再带出了多才多艺的意思，所以 versatile 就可以形容多才多艺的或是多用途的。好，我们顺便补充2个有这一类字根的单字。第一个是 invert， 它的字首 in 表示在点点点之中，在点点点之上。字根 vert 表示翻转，那当我们把东西可能是内外啊或上下翻转，它就会前后倒置或是上下颠倒。那用这个方式也许可以联想到 invert 它有使倒置使颠倒的意思。第二个补充的是 divert 或是念作 divert，它的字首 di 表示分离或是从什么什么，那么字根 vert 表示转，我们就可以用转移到旁边来联想说 divert 它有使转向、使改道或是转移，像转移注意力的那种语义咯。好，那以上今天重点整理，我们回顾今天单字吧。
Agent.
Many actors rely on their agents to find roles that match their skills.
Fantasy. Franklin loves to escape reality by diving into fantasy novels. Franchise. The latest film in the action franchise was seen by millions of people around the world. Venture. Starting a new restaurant is typically a challenging venture. Accent. Jean's French accent made him sound charming during the interview. Influential. Dr. Reed is one of the most influential figures in the field of environmental science. Launch. The school will soon launch a new program to support students with special needs. Await. Ms. Blair's class is eagerly awaiting the results of the competition.
Discussion starter starts now!
Okay, it's time for our discussion starter question. The question is, do you think it would be difficult to become famous at a young age? Why or why not?
Yes, I think becoming famous as a child or teenager would be difficult because we live in the world of social media, and think of all the pressure that you might receive from people, the bullying you might receive from people, and also young people, their character, their personality, it's not fully formed. So kind of growing up in the public eye, if you remember teenage years, they were pretty embarrassing already. Imagine going through all that with millions or billions of people commenting on everything you did. I think that would be a very difficult process to go through.
Well, no, I don't think there would be any problems with finding fame at a young age, or maybe not many problems, because Hollywood realizes that kid actors will have problems in the future, and they have these counseling services set up for them, so when they leave show business, they'll become ready for the future, and a lot of these young actors will probably know for sure that they don't want to pursue a career in acting, so they'll be smart, and they will enroll in university and seek careers other than in acting, and I'm sure lots of them will become quite successful. Well, that brings us to the end of another edition of our program, and please make sure you join us again next time. From all of us here, I am Roger.
I am Mike.
See you next time.